If you thought about Christmas back in Mississippi, it was not like it is in the city. You had to do a lot of work to get ready for Christmas. So my daddy would get up early on Thanksgiving morning and he would say, we got to get the yard ready for Christmas. That meant that we had to rake the leaves. Then we had to burn the leaves and get everything in the yard clean. And then he would say, let's go to the woods and let's go find a Christmas tree. So my sister and my brother and me would be excited to go find a Christmas tree. He'd hitch up the horse, we'd get on the wagon, and that was fun because you didn't have cars back in those days. You got a chance to ride on the wagon, so anything other than walking was fun. So we went down the road, round the curve, in the woods, looking for a Christmas tree. Christmas trees in Mississippi were either long needle pine trees or short needle pine trees. Now, every now and then you would find the right tree, but it was hard to find the right tree. And the reason it was hard to find the right tree because they just didn't have many Christmas trees in Mississippi. So we would eventually find the right tree, and we would tell my daddy, we think we've located a tree. But we would have found the tree our size. We'd find a pint-sized tree, 3 to 4 feet tall. A big tree would have big presents. A little tree would have little presents because Santa Claus, he really couldn't get under a little tree. The pine tree itself brought the aroma. My goodness, it would smell up the whole house. You wake up early in the morning and you smell all the pine cones. My daddy was able to raise a good crop. We would have a good Christmas. If it was a bad year, you would hear my dad and mama say, well, we're not going to get much for Christmas this year because Santa Claus got to come a long way. The reason they said that because they didn't have as much money that year. But Christmas was always good. They always figured out to get some presents and have some things. But the most fun time was food and your relatives and your friends. And everybody was going to be passing by and they're going to be eating a little pie and cake and they would be laughing and talking. So Christmas wasn't just presents, even though we were excited that first morning when we got the little doll or we got the this, we're excited. But then the real excitement started when people were coming from other cities, coming home for Christmas, and they were going to be coming to our house. Every day, something was working toward Christmas, and we, the children, we would be saying, wonder what we're going to get for Christmas. Wonder what Santa Claus is going to bring us for Christmas. No, Mama cooked for all the relatives, and she cooked for all the friends, and they would come and they would enjoy the turkey and the goose, and they would enjoy the pies and the cakes. And my mama had cooked for days to get that ready. Yeah, she had the famous dressing. My mama could cook dressing. Wasn't nobody could cook dressing like my mama. My mama could cook anything, and she did not have electricity, remember. And she didn't have an electric mixer, and she didn't have the modern things. She just had her bare hands and what she could find from the garden and from the stores, the local stores, and she would do all this work herself. If you just begin to think about Christmas now in big metropolitan cities, there are all kinds of people living in metropolitan cities now and in large cities across the United States. And there's lots of poor people. Lots of things have changed from the time that we didn't have lights and we now have utilities. The modern things brought on some modern problems. So now we have poor and people are underserved and not as many funds, and business is moving on as usual, but people are still starving. They're still having problems. They still don't have enough to get along. When I think of Christmas now, I think of, is it really important, the things even that we had in Mississippi, is that as important as a person having a meal? And just yesterday, I was out and I saw people on the corner begging for food, begging for $1, begging for this so that they could feed their children. So now we have these problems. We as a people need to put more of our time in thinking of those who are less fortunate and those who need help. Christmas is a good time to think of others. It's a great time to think of giving. It's a good starting point for us to begin to look outward rather than inward and think about someone else rather than ourselves. It's a good time to be looking inward, saying, what is it that I have that I can share with someone else? Maybe it's food, maybe it's clothes, maybe it's money, maybe it's things that in your closet that you're not using that you could share with someone else. And you could take this with your family and find a family or find a nonprofit or find someone that's helping somebody. The key word that I want you to hear today, it's a good time to start to help somebody else. But after Christmas, we should say that was our starting point. This was the time that I really got my feet wet in helping someone else. But daily, I'm going to begin to think about others and their needs. Just like Mama fed all those people that came to her house at that time, that was not the starting point for her. She had been doing that many, many years. She had learned it from her mother. And she was giving in the community, and she was helping. So all these people would gather at Christmas time, kind of like a celebration and a thank you. I even do that today. At Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, I gather with friends and with neighbors. Since I look at Christmas and Easter and all of these different days in seasons as opposed to days, it keeps us from one season to another thinking about those that are less fortunate. Start this Christmas, but keep it up. Keep doing it. Don't stop. We have a great opportunity to change the world. We have a great opportunity to make a difference. We have a great opportunity to be salt and light. We have a great opportunity to make sure that a child not only has a doll or a toy, or food for Christmas, but we can make a difference. We can make a difference in that person's life. We can write them a letter on a monthly basis. We can visit them on a weekly basis. We can mentor a person. We can get involved with a person. I've written a couple of books, and they're on Amazon. You can find those books by JoeAnn Ballard on Amazon to help you through some of this. One of them is Room in Our Hearts, Room in Our Home. Another one is Called. Another one is How You Can Volunteer. I would ask you to go look on Amazon and purchase one of those books, but begin to think about being involved, not just Christmas, but being involved with someone every day. Wake up in the morning and think of someone else other than yourselves. Your life will be better, their life will be better, and we all would have a Merry Christmas and a happy world.